After every single game, WNBA players, fans, coaches are all complaining about the referees, and they have shown that they're not going to change anything because the referees continue to be horrible.
The FBI starts sniffing around, starts digging around, starts flipping through pages, looking into the WNBA, whether it's the officiating, whether it's the players.
Something just snapped in the WNBA. And this time, it's not fans ranting online or analysts debating a missed call on TV. It's much bigger than that. Referees, actual WNBA officials, have now testified under oath that the league influenced how certain games were officiated. And according to their sworn statements, that direction came straight from Cathy Engelbert's office. Think about that. Not a rumor, not a whisper, not a conspiracy thread. Legal testimony. With a commissioner's fingerprints allegedly sitting right on top of the officiating narrative.
Many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem.
The referees literally turned their back.
Caitlin Clark appears to be hunted every game. She deals with physicality that no other player in the league is dealing with. The WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, their only draw, their only star. And this is the end result.
And caught in the center of it all? Caitlin Clark. The league's biggest star, largest attendance draw, highest ratings magnet, and the woman who almost single-handedly reshaped the audience for women's basketball. Yet somehow she was also the player taking the most abuse on the court with the least protection. If you sat through this season and thought, how on earth is that not a foul? Turns out there may have been an answer all along. And here's what pushes this whole thing into another stratosphere. The NBA just had referees arrested in a gambling scandal. Stephen A. Smith came right out and said it. If the FBI is scrutinizing the NBA, don't be surprised if the WNBA is next.
Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Yep. Don't be surprised.
Suddenly, this isn't just bad officiating. This is a potential federal interest in whether the integrity of the sport was compromised. This is the kind of situation that goes from ESPN headlines to Department of Justice folders real quick. When this news surfaced, it didn't leak. It detonated. 3 long-tenured WNBA referees stepped forward, calmly and professionally, with sworn testimony that described internal meetings and expectations about officiating decisions. Not keep games safe, not protect the players, not uphold the rules. They were allegedly told to protect the league's image. Translation? Don't let one player, and we all know who that is, overshadow the rest of the league. One referee's statement reportedly said the quiet part out loud. Too much attention on one player disrupts the league's image. Under oath. That sentence alone should make every fan stop cold. The league wasn't threatened by contact on court. It was threatened by attention off it. That's not coaching. That's not officiating philosophy. That's image control. And now, investigators are listening.
Stephanie White. She was complaining about her team not getting a whistle, not being respected.
The WNBA isn't facing a PR problem. It's facing a legitimacy crisis. For 20-something years, the league begged for a generational superstar who could blow the doors open and change everything. Then Caitlin Clark arrived, and in less than a year, she did what marketing departments couldn't accomplish in decades. She brought sellouts, she brought casual fans, she brought global interest, she dragged TV ratings and arena revenues into places the league never dreamed of. And instead of embracing her rise, these referees say the league tried to manage it, slow it, muffle it, balance it. Some call that strategy, others call it tampering with the integrity of competition. When fairness gets replaced with fear of spotlight imbalance, you don't have a league, you have a presentation. You don't have sport, you have programming.
This is a WNBA problem, and as more and more eyeballs are watching this league, it becomes growingly an issue. The officiating feels you never have a true grasp on what it's going to be.
Caitlin didn't just enter the WNBA, she changed the temperature of the room. Before she arrived, energy was steady, respectable. Then she stepped on a court and every arena turned into a playoff environment overnight. Tickets jumped from $15 to $300. Games that would have drawn 8,000 suddenly packed 18,000. This wasn't hype manufactured by PR. This was gravity. Real, undeniable, once-in-a-generation gravity. And according to these refs, instead of embracing that gravity, the league tried to counterweight it with officiating decisions. Let more contact go. Allow the physicality. Don't reward her. Don't tilt attention. Don't disrupt the balance. Without saying it outright, the alleged message was, do not let her become too big.
The referees are not listening to them. They're not listening to the coaches. They're not listening to the players. They're not listening to the fans. They're listening to their stakeholders. That's why I keep saying nothing is going to change till the mindset and whoever's running all of this, the stakeholders, governance, whoever these people are.
But greatness is disruptive. Michael Jordan disrupted. Serena Williams disrupted. Tiger Woods disrupted. Messi disrupted. Tom Brady disrupted. Every major sport in history rode a phenomenon to new heights. That's how leagues grow. One icon doesn't hurt a league. They build it. Yet these officials claim Engelbert and her circle believe that one runaway superstar was a threat to competitive balance. So instead of celebrating her, they allegedly engineered friction around her. And you could see it with your own eyes. The contact Caitlyn absorbed wasn't playoff toughness. It was license, forearm shots, hip checks, shoulder blows. Hits that would have drawn whistles for anyone else were shrugged off like play on. And fans felt it. You don't have to squint to notice when the whistle suddenly dies for one player.
Caitlin Clark is being roughed up, but the physical wear and tear on Caitlin Clark, I'm not surprised that 2 weeks into the season, she's already got an injury.
Meanwhile, who's sitting courtside smiling like the house is in order? Cathy Engelbert. Calm, poised, unbothered. As if the league didn't have a generational talent getting mauled nightly. As if we weren't watching offensive fouls magically become good defense the second Caitlyn touched the ball. As if balance meant punish success. This isn't just incompetence, this is institutional arrogance. We know better than the fans. We know better than the product. We will decide how the story unfolds. But here's the truth. You don't steer a rocket mid-flight. You hang on and let it take you somewhere new.
2024 was a year of unprecedented growth in viewership in the WNBA, a substantial amount of which can be attributed to Caitlin Clark, who took the basketball world by storm after an all-time college career.
Who had appeared in 185 consecutive games between her career at Iowa and her time with the Indiana Fever. 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She never missed one.
And yet, Caitlyn said nothing. No complaints. No theatrics. No shade on social media. She played. She took the hits. She shook them off. She did what real stars do. She stayed professional while those above her allegedly tried to stunt her rise. The one person who refused to politicize the game is the player paying the price for other people's fear. But now the league is out of shadows. The testimonies didn't sit in a file cabinet. They escalated through the proper channels. Ethics investigators have eyes on this. The questions being asked are the kind that get answered under oath, not in press conferences. Professionals are now asking whether officiating directives were altered to manipulate competition, whether certain players were targeted, whether leadership tried to shape results instead of letting the game breathe. That's not criticism. That's governance review.
The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. They have an agenda against Caitlin Clark.
And if it proves true, this doesn't end with a stern memo and we will do better. It ends with people gone. It ends with policy overhauls. It ends with independent referee oversight. It ends with a commissioner's legacy crumbling under their own insecurity. It ends with a sport being rebuilt, not polished. Because when fans start doubting the fairness of a league, the floor falls out. People do not invest their hearts, their eyeballs, their time, their dollars in a league they think is scripted. Caitlin Clark's arrival was the biggest gift the WNBA ever received. A phenomenon walked in and handed them relevance, excitement, money, attention. And all they had to do was get out of the way and protect her like every league protects its crown jewels. Instead, if these statements are true, leadership allegedly chose image control over integrity and punished its own miracle for arriving too quickly, shining too brightly, growing too fast.
Caitlin Clark, somebody who was responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity last season, including revenue from merchandise, ticket sales, and television.
Greatness isn't polite. Greatness doesn't wait its turn. Greatness doesn't request permission to elevate everyone. It just does. And any league foolish enough to suppress that instead of riding it is not a league ready for success. It's a league terrified of it. If this investigation finds proof, texts, call notes, meeting summaries, patterns, then we are witnessing the start of the biggest scandal in WNBA history. This won't be a PR cycle. This will be a reckoning. The refs lit the match, under oath. And once truth enters the record, there is no whistle loud enough to stop it. This isn't going away in a week. This is the moment the WNBA learns that trying to manage a phenomenon doesn't protect a league. It exposes it. And while leadership fights to defend their image, Caitlin Clark will do what she always does: play with excellence, carry the sport on her back, and stay silent while the truth speaks louder than she ever needed to.
The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. They have an agenda against Caitlin Clark.
And the timing of all this couldn't be more explosive. Because this situation isn't unfolding in some quiet corner of sports media. It's happening while the entire basketball world is under a magnifying glass. The NBA is already being dragged through gambling investigations, integrity questions, and arrests tied to officiating. And here comes the WNBA, right into the frame at the exact worst moment. When one league starts facing accountability, every league connected to it gets put under the same light. Oversight doesn't stop at the NBA logo. It expands outward. So when federal investigators see sworn statements, physical play that defied logic, and a league suddenly under scrutiny, they don't call it coincidence. They call it a red flag. And right now, the WNBA is waving one the size of a championship banner. This isn't just about one league protecting its brand. This is about basketball protecting its integrity as a sport. And here's the most incredible part. Cathy Engelbert came in as the supposed steward of stability. She bragged about corporate partnerships, expansion, mainstream visibility, all the buzzwords. But stability built on manipulated outcomes and optics isn't leadership. It's control dressed as progress. Trust in sports is earned on the court, not in boardrooms and press conferences. And right now, that trust is on life support.
It's the Caitlin Clark disrespect. And what I mean by that is, you've got somebody who is obviously the most popular player in basketball. You got somebody that I would argue maybe a top 5 most popular athlete in the United States of America. All right. You got this athlete in a league that nobody's been watching, never turned a profit, and your system is broken against that team.
When a voice as big as Stephen A. steps into the conversation, you know it's no longer niche. One comment from him changed the entire tone of this story. He didn't whisper. He basically said on national television, "Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next." And that wasn't random commentary. That was a warning shot. It told everyone watching that this isn't conspiracy talk. It's a situation worthy of investigation. And whether Stephen A. meant to or not, he tied the WNBA's officiating questions directly into the broader crisis around basketball integrity. Now the country's paying attention. Now the feds might be watching. Meanwhile, in the middle of chaos, there's Caitlin Clark, calm, composed, refusing to engage in drama. While executives panic in back rooms and lawyers whisper in hallways, she keeps doing the only thing she's ever focused on, playing basketball. No interviews filled with bitterness, no cryptic posts, no throwing anyone under the bus, just grit and grace. And that contrast is blinding. She's acting like a professional in a moment when the league leaders should be, and aren't. It's the ultimate irony. The youngest star in the league is the one showing the maturity the executives lack.
There's a committee for stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers, and that is saying what style of basketball they want to allow, and the referees are following that law.
Was Cathy Engelbert, wearing a dress literally covered in the New York skyline. That isn't neutral. That isn't professional. That isn't leadership optics. That looks like allegiance. In hindsight, especially with testimony emerging, that outfit is no longer just tone deaf. It's evidence of mindset. A commissioner is supposed to be invisible, impartial, protective of the integrity of every player and team. But in that moment, she looked like a cheerleader in a power suit. And now, every whistle from that series is being replayed in the court of public opinion with new context. Or one commissioner who lost control of the narrative. It's about trust, the foundation of sports. Can players trust that they won't be targeted? Can coaches trust that strategy matters more than influence? Can fans trust that what they are watching is competition and not theater? If any of those answers become no, the league doesn't just have a problem, the league breaks.
But at the same time, the Fever were on the wrong end of some whistles, it seemed, in this game, and it's seemingly been that way for much of the season, and it's been a recurring theme where there's a level of physicality allowed against them, and they're not allowed to reciprocate on the other end. That particularly, of course, goes for Caitlin Clark.
So what happens now? If investigators confirm that referees were instructed to manage outcomes instead of officiating fairly, Engelbert won't be finishing her term. She won't be polishing her legacy. She'll be stepping down or forced out. The league will have to rebuild officiating processes from scratch. Independent review, external oversight, real transparency, not slogans but systems. And those changes won't be optional, they'll be demanded. But here's the most tragic part. Caitlin Clark never wanted to be in the middle of this. She never asked for favoritism, only fairness. She didn't come into the league expecting immunity. She came expecting rules. She didn't want protection, just honest officiating. But instead of being supported, she became the testing ground for an experiment in image control. And she handled it better than the people paid to run the league. So now the question isn't complicated. Should Cathy Engelbert continue leading a league she appears incapable of protecting? Or is it time for leadership that values competition over optics, integrity over image, and fairness over narrative control? If you believe sport should be decided by players and not executives, the answer is already decided. This isn't the moment for silence. It's the moment for accountability. And that starts at the top. Do you think the federal agents will find something substantive? Let us know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.